We're here to talk trash, but first I want to talk about leadership. Two major projects have already come out of the Climate Action Plan. First is BU Wind, which came online in December, and it represents the most impactful single step in reducing our emissions and meeting our greenhouse gas emissions reduction goal by 2040. It is designed to reduce our emissions by 53%. Advance the slide. According to the US EPA, BU's 205 million kilowatt hour power purchase agreement is the largest power purchase agreement by any college or university participating in the Green Power Partnership, and puts BU in the partnership's top 100, along with Google, Microsoft, and Walmart. The project is located on 42 square miles of farmland in South Dakota, generating added income to the farmers who lease their land to the project, and generating clean energy for Boston University, helping us meet our climate action goals. There are 92 wind turbines in the project, and the project is designed to match 100% of the university's electricity usage. Second is the Center for Computing and Data Sciences, another point of pride for climate action by the university. It will be the largest fossil fuel-free, carbon-neutral building in Boston, and is a powerful illustration of one way that we can meet our emissions reduction goals. Leadership is key. At the groundbreaking for the center, Mayor Walsh talked about how Boston University is a climate leader, and the center is a symbol for climate leadership. He sees the center as a leading example of sustainable design and an important solution for helping the city meet its carbon-free goal by 2050. A week after the groundbreaking, Mayor Walsh signed an executive order that all new municipal buildings will be carbon-free. We are extremely fortunate to be part of a city with such strong climate leadership. Third, I expect, will be zero waste, the next frontier of climate leadership, and one that will allow us all to be part of the solution. Based on our estimates, BU's waste stream represents 8 to 10% of our emissions. Zero waste is particularly important because it has been shown to be one of the most cost-effective ways to reduce emissions, and the most tangible way for the BU community to participate in sustainable solutions. How many times do you say, "I'll just throw that away"? Well, where is Away? If you're in Boston, Away is just up the coast in Saugus, surrounded by environmental justice neighborhoods in Saugus, Revere, and Lynn, where our trash is burned in a waste-to-energy facility. For decades, it has been widely demonstrated that materials that we make and use, and how we dispose of them, have significant environmental impacts. These range from growing landfills to air pollution, water pollution, and climate change, all of which have impacts on human health. In the 1980s, waste-to-energy incineration seemed to be the solution, with a 75% reduction in volume to landfills. As it turns out, municipal solid waste incineration produces 25% more emissions than the average coal-fired power plant per unit of energy generated. Over 90% of what ends up in the trash is potentially reusable, recyclable, or compostable. Knowing this, we need to rethink and redesign how our materials flow through society to more efficiently use these resources. The Climate Action Plan recommended that we act on indirect emissions, those emissions that are not in our direct control, but result from what we buy, what we waste, and how we move. The Climate Action Plan recommended that the university pursue zero waste certification and established a zero waste goal. Zero waste is a mindset and a framework that allows us to set ambitious goals and meet them. Zero waste is defined as the diversion of 90% or more of non-hazardous waste from landfill or incineration. In FY19, Boston University diverted 42% of the 10,000 tons of waste it generated, so we're well on our way. The old adage was reduce, reuse, recycle. The Zero Waste Task Force used a more robust rubric, the Zero Waste Hierarchy of Highest and Best Use, to evaluate priorities for investing in new programs and infrastructure. The hierarchy describes a progression of initiatives that support a zero waste system. We know who's leading in zero waste at universities and included this peer scan in the plan. Berkeley, Stanford, and the University of British Columbia are leading the charge. Locally, MIT pioneered a resource management model. They have shared the lessons they have learned with us to help us build on that model, which Katie will talk a little bit about in a minute. Katie has, as our zero waste manager, has toured these institutions with their zero waste teams to better understand how they implemented their systems. Many corporations have robust zero waste plans as well. GM, Sierra Nevada, and Walmart are among the leaders. These corporations are seeing significant cost savings in the billions in their manufacturing, distribution, and operations. Several cities have robust zero waste plans as well. San Francisco has curbside compost pickup and 85% diversion rate. Many cities are implementing these robust plans, like the city of Boston, who launched their plan in 2019 as we were launching our process. To develop our plan, we assembled a 54-member task force with stakeholders from campus planning and operations, auxiliary services, sourcing and procurement, information services and technology, environmental health and safety, dining, events and conferences, sustainability, and faculty and students. We organized ourselves into 5 working groups made up of subject matter experts who met regularly throughout the fall of 2019. The steering committee provided guidance and review of the recommendations developed by the working groups. We hired zero waste associates to support our process and provide professional guidance from the experience they have had in supporting other successful programs at universities, municipalities, and corporations. To design waste out of the system, zero waste begins with a focus on upstream management by reducing waste at the source. To design waste out of the system and support a circular economy, the supply chain working group developed a sustainable purchasing program with added guidance from the Sustainable Purchasing Leadership Council. Infrastructure and logistics provide the foundation for an effective zero waste program. The Infrastructure and Logistics Working Group recommended a redesign of the collection systems on campus to allow the BU community to better participate in the zero waste system. Engaging students, faculty, and staff to participate in zero waste is essential to the university meeting its zero waste goal. The Engagement and Environmental Stewardship Working Group recommended we provide the training, community engagement, and communications necessary for a successful zero waste program. We use industry standard practices for measuring and reporting waste-related data. The industry standard grossly lacks accuracy. BU's zero waste implementation is an opportunity for BU to lead and transform the systems necessary to drive more accurate data reporting while saving money by being able to manage from a position of knowledge. Boston University's construction and renovation projects that seek LEED certification are routinely successful in diverting 90% or more of their construction waste from landfill. The Construction Waste Working Group recommended we do the same for small projects. Let me just say that Paul Ryle and I would like to give a big shout out to the task force members who all brought their ideas to the table. And I just want to thank you all and especially the co-chairs for your leadership here. We couldn't have done it without you. Similar to the climate action planning process, the task force held forums on both campuses to gather ideas from the BU community while soliciting ideas through community surveys. Now, please meet Katie Robbins, our Zero Waste Manager. She's been with us for 2 years. Before joining BU, she was at River Road Waste Solutions, where she managed 17 national corporate waste reduction accounts, including Bank of America, to help these corporations meet their recycling and diversion goals. We designed the Zero Waste position to report to sustainability for 2 years and lead the development of the Zero Waste plan, then transition to facilities management and operations to manage it. That transition is underway. Let me turn this over to Katie, who can explain what you can expect from the plan. Katie, all yours.
Thanks, Dennis. Good morning, everyone. So zero waste is a very aspirational goal. It's going to involve a lot of change and necessitates collective action from the whole university. We know that waste is a contributor to climate change, it negatively impacts public health, and it's a sign of economic inefficiency. Before I get into the specifics of how the task force recommends that we achieve such an aspirational goal, I want to paint a picture for what a future zero waste BU would look like for us as employees. So here's the vision. You're sitting at your desk. There's no trash can next to you, but you're not concerned because you know there's a trash and recycling station just around the corner with signage to help you know what to put where. You're buying new office furniture. You can hop onto the BU online asset exchange platform and see that just a few buildings down, there's another department that posted for free exactly what you need. When you're planning an event, your catering on the Charles can arrive in fully recyclable or compostable packaging with a guide of how to properly dispose of your waste. And those couple of cookies that you didn't quite finish, you leave in your break room and you make a note to order a few less next time. If you're in a department meeting, your designated zero waste point of contact, which might be you, shows you your building's most recent waste generation data, how you compare to others, and tips on how to improve. And if you're a new employee, you're at orientation with HR. There's a handout in your introduction folder explaining that BU is on its way to being a zero waste university, and here's how the community expects you to participate in supporting that. So to dive into the initiatives a little bit, Dennis mentioned before the zero waste hierarchy. These initiatives are organized in accordance with that hierarchy. First, redesign at the highest level encourages us to reimagine waste as a resource. That's a cultural shift. To create that, we must collect and communicate the data needed to fully understand our impact. We must revise our standards like design guidelines and empower individuals to have a stake in the achievement of our goal through formalizing a zero waste network of support. In the area of reduction, BU Dining Services is already leading the way, having achieved zero waste for back of house operations. This is such an incredible and inspirational example of zero waste in action at BU today. The task force looked at BU's operations with a critical lens to identify other opportunities to reduce waste, which include printing, post-consumer food, deliveries, paper towels, and single-use disposables. Reuse is an important step away from the linear economy towards a circular economy, and one of the biggest opportunities for department-level cost savings. Essentially, how do we get usable goods from the hands of someone who doesn't need them into the hands of somebody who does? The task force recommends an online platform for the BU community members to exchange goods, thereby reducing the need to purchase new. To reduce lab waste will encourage the sharing of lab supplies and chemicals. Recycle and compost is probably what most of you are familiar with, and it's the foundation to a successful zero waste program. Standardized bin setups and signage across campus will support a cohesive system of collection, and new construction waste diversion requirements will maximize diversion. Culture change spans multiple levels of the hierarchy. These three initiatives involve a mix of educational campaigns combined with formal trainings, recognition programs, incentives, and integration of zero waste related responsibilities into job descriptions and performance reviews. And finally, market development. DU can not only be a leader in transforming our own operations and culture, but it can influence the industry to change with us and meet the needs of the future. A sustainable purchasing program will engage the university's vendors in our waste reduction goals, and updating our processes for construction and grounds will set a new standard. While the launch of the plan was delayed, we've been hard at work behind the scenes this last year, laying the groundwork. We've made several COVID adjustments. First, custodians are no longer entering individual offices to serve as trash buddies. Not only does this mitigate COVID transmission risk, but it begins the transition to a centralized collection system. Second, with the majority of dining being takeout and most students eating in their rooms, we've added food waste collection capacity and streamlined recycling collection in Warren and West Campus dorms. These posters and stickers that you can see on the screen were developed by a student and align with Massachusetts state guidelines. These are the new standard that you're going to start to see everywhere on campus. Finally, we've also been planning the consolidation of our inside recycling bins from a dual stream system to a single stream system. Another major project that we're near to the conclusion on is redesigning our waste hauling contracts as a resource management contract. Dennis mentioned earlier that MIT has been a real leader in this. The goal here is to secure a strategic partnership with a company that has the tools and the expertise to help us make the transition from the current system to what's envisioned in the Zero Waste Plan. And finally, we are pursuing True Zero Waste certification for the Center for Computing and Data Sciences. As you can see from the floor plan here, the only bins that are publicly available are recycling and food waste. But the certification actually involves much more than just this infrastructure. So far, we've met with faculty user groups who are excited to incorporate zero waste into the academics and the culture of the center. Stay tuned for more on that. And now I'll turn it back to Dennis to talk briefly about cost impacts.
Thank you, Katie. So yes, what about costs? Most of the 21 initiatives have low or no cost, shown in light green. As with most plans, the majority of the costs are concentrated in a handful of initiatives. The initiatives with bigger price tags are in dark green and include a metrics framework for data collection technology, print reduction for print management technology. But let me just say that we can achieve the same goal by any number of solutions. Print reduction is one example, and I will come back to that in a minute. Paper towel replacement, one-time cost for hand dryers, eliminating single-use disposables or increasing reusable mug incentive, adding bottle filling stations, and making other adjustments. Construction waste diversion for on-site source separation and construction waste management. So let's look at the print reduction issue. The Zero Waste Plan recommended that we implement a managed print type system for the university. The technology comes with a hefty price tag. The pandemic provides actually an opportunity. As you can see from this graph, there has been a precipitous decline in the departmental print volume since COVID has hit. The question is, now that we have become accustomed to managing our document needs more electronically and are printing less, can we maintain these printing habits moving forward? I hope this can actually be an example of bouncing forward rather than bouncing back after COVID. The email that goes out after the town meeting will have a quick survey for you to share your thoughts on this. Last graph. But this one actually is very important because it shows how each of these strategies contribute to the zero waste goal. The green shows a 42% diversion that we've already achieved. The blue represents the contributions from redesign, reduce, reuse, recycle, and compost, and culture change. The orange is construction waste diversion. All of this gets us to an 84% diversion rate. In 5 years, we will begin to explore how to squeeze the last 6% out of this and reach the zero waste goal for the university with an updated plan. As you can see, we need to employ all of these initiatives and then some The university will need your ideas and help to ultimately achieve the zero waste goal for the university. So what are the next steps? In March, read the plan. It is now available at bu.edu/zero waste plan. Tomorrow, it will be available on BU Today. Let us know how you expect this will affect your operations. Think about how you can implement it in your department. Let us know what you need to succeed. Take the printing survey. It'll come out in about a week. Provide your feedback either by sending an email to sustainability@BU or comment or in the comment section of the BU Today article starting tomorrow. In early April, we will organize the feedback around the issues that float to the top. Katie will reach out to set up meetings for implementation starting in April. These meetings will include you and members of the task force. We plan to begin the implementation this summer and fall. Let me just close by saying that since the approval of the Climate Action Plan, I've been blown away by the way the members of the BU community have embraced the Climate Action Plan and stepped up to help contribute and implement it. Thank you for that. Now I look forward to seeing the same energy and creativity of the BU community come to the fore once again for zero waste. Thank you. So I'll stop sharing my screen and we can take questions.
Thanks, Dennis. The first question, will this plan address food waste in the dining halls?
Yes, and I think Katie mentioned that earlier, but I think this is a very very important issue, and the fact of the matter is, dining is already doing zero waste behind the scenes in the dining hall. They're exceeding 90% diversion rate. So they're an example of how to get this done. The challenge is really continuing the reduction of the plate waste. And because, over time, we've been able to reduce the amount of plate waste, which has been a big effort from dining for a long time. That and dealing with source separation at the GSU and on the medical campus. These are critical issues, and these are areas we have more work to do on. And this is where the culture change comes from. The training, engagement, and communications that we've talked about in the plan, these are critical in addressing these issues. If the questioner is referring to the waste generation in the dining halls now in the grab and go world of COVID, that is indeed a challenge. And in fact, we've seen a decrease in our diversion rate because of it. Katie, do you want to add anything to that?
I think that pretty much covers it. I just want to mention that in order to help the situation during this COVID period, we've added that food waste collection capacity, as well as streamline the recycling collection in some of our major residence halls, specifically Warren and the 3 West Campus dorms. And this is helping us capture that food waste and recycling during this time when we are seeing a change in the waste stream.
That's a good segue to the next question, which is, other than printing, you didn't mention much about COVID. How does COVID affect the plan?
Well, on the positive side, COVID has caused us to eliminate the desk side trash and recycling that Katie had mentioned, and move us toward that centralized system. It is also, well, I guess I don't need to repeat what Katie's already said about the dorms. I guess the most fundamental thing that it has done is it has delayed the launch of the plan by about a year. In addition, it may require that we reevaluate the 2030 goal that we have set for the plan. Hopefully, it won't delay it much, but I think the work in the next weeks and months will help us really finalize that process.
Are faculty members part of the Zero Waste working groups, as these goals may affect academic programs and how curriculum is delivered?
Yes, faculty were involved. We had, I recall, 2 faculty members, one from Earth and Environment and one from Western. I think, that's a big part of, obviously, that's the central part of our operation. So that's going to be something we're going to need to continue to address. Katie, do you want to add anything to that?
I'll add a note. There's 2 professors running a cross-college challenge course right now focused on zero waste. They were not formally part of the task force, but they are super excited about waste. So we're hoping that as zero waste gets integrated into all parts of the culture, that there'll be even more opportunities for faculty to get involved and help integrate it into the academic side.
Let me add to that, Katie. Thank you for bringing that up. The Questrom Master of Science and Management Studies team last year took on zero waste, and I think they came up with some, basically having the plan, we're able to make some recommendations for us.
Rachel, sorry, I'm going to jump in here, just watching the clock to say, I think we can take one more question, and then we're going to move to the conclusion of the program.
Great. Will these efforts also be in place on the medical campus? It seems that recycling efforts are not duplicated on the med campus where composting does not happen, and routinely it is seen that recycled products are commingled with trash when the receptacles are collected.
I think that's a great question. Katie, you want to take that?
Sure. Yes, they will be in place on the medical campus. The medical campus has very unique needs, and those are going to need to be addressed with unique solutions. However, the vision for zero waste that we've outlined for you today does encompass all campuses, Charles River, BUMC, and Fenway.
All right, Dennis and Katie, thank you for that presentation. I think 21 initiatives is enough to keep you busy for the next year or two, and hopefully we'll keep track of our success as we go forward.